Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast. I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2020, the album, Dad. AF. And the rose is still a rose. Baby girl, you're still a flower. Do you guys know that song? I love that song so much. Anyway. Rock on, gold dust. Woman. All right, let's get this video today. How are you guys doing? I just got back from the gym. Look, I even have my shoes still on. I'm like working out hard. I'm like at the gym with my personal trainer, and I'm like, oh my Lord, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. So anyway, and I'm getting ready to go see Rufus Du Sol tonight, which I'm extremely excited. I am a huge Rufus Du Sol fan, but I thought I would get on here and make a little video before I do all that. So it is absolutely beautiful outside here. I'm gonna like spin you around so you can see Indianapolis. We got so much snow last night. Check that out. Can you see it? It's my patio back there. This is high editing over here. Anyway, before I get in this video, I want to do a little shout out to my sponsor today. Yes. This video is sponsored again today. It is sponsored by Adam and Eve. Thank you, Adam and Eve, for sponsoring this video. If you use my code Peter. I love that my code is code Peter. The only code that would be better is if my name were Richard. You go figure that one out. Anyway, you could go and you could use code Peter and you get 50% off, okay? Your first item plus free shipping and handling, I guess handling. Family friendly in the United States and Canada, okay? Now, a few things that you should know about Adam and Eve is that it is 24-hour customer service, 90-day, no hassle returns, and 20% of their profits go to help fighting the spread of HIV around the world. Now, I have done several sponsorships with Adam and Eve. As you know, okay, over here, I do not talk about any products, any things. I don't do any sponsorships over here unless I 100% believe in them. Go over to adamandeve.com and trust me, you will believe in their products, okay? They have some very cool things over there for couples. They actually have an entire tab that is just for couples, and they have all kinds of like games and, you know, oils and lubrications and all you know what, tantrics and all that kind of, my Lord, oh my family friendly. But anyway, no, in all seriousness, go check it out. And, you know, if you want to hear me talk about the 12 forms of intimacy, come over to my Peterisms channel. I've talked many times over there about 12 forms of intimacy over there, and that physical intimacy is only one of them, okay, for having a really great relationship or a really great marriage. But physical intimacy is a really important part of any romantic relationship, passionate relationship, any kind of marriage, partnership, whatever. So you should go over there and you should check out my Peterisms channel. But while you're doing that, go consider checking out adamandeve.com. Don't forget, you get 50% off with my code. Code, what is it again? Code Peter! That's for all them haters out there, okay? When I was growing up and they thought my name was so funny, okay, that my name was Peter. Well, you don't have a 50% off code, do you, at Adam and Eve? Don't you know? Oh, losing my fans over that one. Anyway, let's get into today's video. Today's video, we are going to talk about Nikki tutorials. And Nikki tutorials, you know, has been, I feel like she's really come into her own since she has made her video about coming out. And I'm just like really impressed with how she is taking this and showing how confident she is and how comfortable she feels in her own skin. I think in the next year or two, I think like people before her, I think we are going to see like Candace Kane and I think Laverne Cox and other trans women before her. I think that we are going to see her do some really phenomenal things within the community. I think she is going to just be, you know, I think she's going to be at a front of really helping younger people out there. And you know what? I think this is really important to be said too, okay? Not just younger trans people, but I think anybody out there that feels maybe not comfortable, you know, enough, and that her coming out and sharing her truth, sharing her story, I think for all of us, you know, makes us a little bit more comfortable with ourselves. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I already loved Nikki, but like, for some reason, her feeling so comfortable to come out, and yes, I know that she felt forced to come out and tell her story, but she did it in such a beautiful and eloquent way. For her to come out and, you know, then share it and then take it and then just go with it. I'm just like so impressed with her. And, you know, I think Nikki Tutorials will always be known for her tutorials and her makeup reviews and makeup and all that kind of stuff, right? But I think in the next, you know, 2 to 5 years, we're going to see her doing other things as well, big things. You know, she's already doing this whole thing in Europe and whatever, and I think we're going to see her doing bigger and bigger things. And I'm really, really excited for her. You know, she was already on the Ellen Show. I covered that on this channel, but I'm excited to see what is coming for her in the future. So, best of luck, Nikki. I'm sorry that as a side note to that, she gets a lot of hate, and she addressed that on Twitter, which is what we're going to talk about today. Right here on Twitter, here it is. Let's see what date this was. This was on the 25th, so this was yesterday. She tweeted out, ha 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 ha. Some of you think y'all really clever calling me he and boy on my latest post. You're so funny, ha ha, dot 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 dot. Yeah, get the F out of here, okay? So, you know, it's interesting to me whenever I read a post like this from anybody, I have to say that I feel like there's got to be a certain amount of pain associated with that. You know, that's a cruel thing, right? Like anybody, I never have to just say this, right? Like, and I've said this in tons and tons and tons of videos. I really do not understand the whole perception of hate watching and people leaving hate comments. I really don't get it. In fact, I have like talked to people before that specifically just watch certain videos to leave hate comments, and they like really get off on it. And I'm like, I always ask them, I'm like, I don't understand why, okay, we only are here for a certain amount of time on this planet, right? And you have a certain amount of every day, hours, minutes, seconds, and you choose to spend that time hate watching somebody or leaving a hate comment. What do you get out of that? What do you gain from that? Like, I really, really don't understand that. I don't, you know? And as somebody, I'm not a trans person, but, you know, I identify as gay, and I have been, you know, out since I was 18 years old. This summer, you guys, on my 38th birthday, I wish. On my 48th birthday will be 30 years since I have come out. And gotta get kind of teary-eyed talking about that. Like, you know, it's been a long journey. You know, when I came out, I wasn't really that comfortable in my skin, and I think, like, this is where I think Nikki's story is universal. When I was growing up, you know, so many people had bullied me and said, he's gay, he's this, he's effeminate, blah, 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 whatever, that when I came out, I didn't really feel like I owned my story. I didn't really feel like it was mine. And so there was a part of this that I was taking back. If you also know part of my story, you know that I got sober when I was 22 because I was a mess of alcohol and drugs. And at that time, had you asked me, do you think this is about drinking, or do you think your drinking and drugging is about being gay, I would have said absolutely not. In fact, when I was in treatment that time, I went into my counselor's office. It's kind of a funny story. I know this video is kind of all over the place, but I went into my counselor's office before my first group, and I said, hey, I just want you to know that I'm gay. And I don't think that we need to talk about that while we're here. I'm out to my parents, I'm out to my friends, everybody knows, it's fine, whatever. And she said, okay, so I'm just asking, you know, and this is really based on stereotypes, which is so sad, but she said, I'm just asking, and she's a very dear friend of mine today, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her, but she said, so I'm just asking, you think people don't know that you're gay? And I said, I mean, I don't know what they think, but we don't need to talk about it. So we go into the first group, and I'm sitting in there, right, with 20 of the meanest, baddest looking men that I've ever seen in my entire life, who became some of my dearest friends of my that I've ever met in my entire life. These guys treated me like gold. And she sits down and she introduces me to the group, and she says, this is Peter, and he's gay, and he doesn't want to talk, we're not going to talk about it because he doesn't think anybody knows. I was like, oh my God, she called me out, you know? But there is a huge part of this about people taking our stories away. And people take our stories away sometimes with the hate comments, and they don't, you know, I don't think that other people see that, how they do that, right? Like, but, you know, I've never really understood this whole thing. And I have to tell you, not until marriage equality came around, and my husband and I were huge advocates for marriage equality. And, you know, like, at the time, this was way before I was on YouTube, I wrote an article that got posted on the Huffington Post, that got then posted on the USA Today, and it went viral, just about how my husband and I are different than everybody else, and how we're treated differently, and how the ban on marriage equality in Indiana would have affected us. And you know what I've never understood is when I meet people that have made it their entire life's purpose to just fight and fight and fight and fight and fight against other people's rights, to just be who they want to be or be who they feel inherently is true to them in their heart, or love who they want to love, I don't really understand what that's about. Like, on your deathbed, will you be, I'm speaking right to that person if you're out there, on your deathbed, will your proudest moment be that you maybe stopped one person from loving who they loved, or stopped one person from inherently being true to themselves inside? Like, is that your proudest moment in this world? I hope that's not my proudest moment when I look back on my life. You know, I hope my proudest moments are maybe some relationships that I've had with people, or where I've helped somebody out, or, you know, I don't know, maybe my sobriety or something like that. But I can't imagine that being my proudest moment, you know? So if that's not my proudest moment, why am I spending any kind of time whatsoever engaging in activities that are going to not lead to my proudest moment? So by leaving hate comments on somebody's video, right, that you know are cruel, we now know Nikki's story. There's no need for that comment. Okay, what are you achieving by that comment? She already knows what a lot of people think about her. Let's just be for real. She's probably dealt with this for a lot longer than we have. I mean, let's be for real, right? So it's like, come on, what's the point in leaving the comments? You know, and I think, like, I went into 2020 and I said, I'm not going to address negativity and I'm not going to address hate comments that I receive anymore. And I have to say, in all honesty, I don't really get as many as other people do. I mean, I just got a Reddit thread started that is called The Good Judies, okay? And there is 155 people. I know it's not a lot, but those are 155 people over there that mean a hell of a lot to me, okay? Because they have followed this Reddit thread because they watch me on a regular basis. Do you know how much that means to me? Okay. I don't get as many hate comments as other people do, because I read people's videos and there's just like threaded and hate comments all over YouTube, okay? Candle reviewers, seriously, that get it. Mommy bloggers and all over the place, right? But you know, when you get those comments, like I've heard a lot of YouTubers say this, and there's a lot of truth to this. You know, you can get 100 glowing comments, but it's that one comment that hurts the most. It's that one comment that like stands out, and it's like, I was just like, what was I just watching the other day? It was something I was actually watching a YouTube video on YouTube, but it was like a mainstream celebrity that was saying, it's like that one comment that you hear that like just pushes you over the edge, right? And I think it is hard, you know? And that's why I've really encouraged people like Jaclyn Hill to focus on the positive. I have attempted to focus on the positive, you know? But listen, sometimes the negative gets the best of us as well. We're just human beings, you know? It's hard sometimes when you're trying to live your authentic, genuine self and someone comes for you, like underneath a video. That being said, as YouTubers, I think we get used to, after a while, putting our stuff out there and somebody's gonna have something to say about it, you know what I mean? So then, after that, all these people like are highly, highly supportive of her underneath here. Somebody says, not worth your response, or finger taps, pretty girl. The second your eyes see the hate or jealousy, scroll up and don't ever reply. You've clearly shown your strength. The ones closest to you are the only ones that matter. Somebody said, queen. Somebody said, why do these morons matter so much that you're addressing their shenanigans? Focus on the love. Somebody else said, what is wrong with people? You know, and I think that it's like, I mean, I've even really tried to understand this with Jaclyn Hill. And I grant Jaclyn Hill that, you know, because she's somebody that focuses a lot on the negativity, right? But, you know, she's a human being and she's had hard times. And it's like, in that moment, have you ever had those days that you're like, you know, like Bianca Del Rio said, not today, Satan. I mean, there are those days and it's like, no. Not today. I have given you my all, and not today. I can't today, right? Like, I've had those days. I just went to the gym with my personal trainer and busted my ASS for an hour, okay? Do you know how hard it is for me to even walk in the door of that place? For then somebody, if I had gotten to my car and read a comment and somebody said, you fat AS, I would have been like, oh, not, you better never. You know what I mean? Not today. So anyway, she then comes out and all these people are highly, highly supportive of her. And then she came out 3 hours ago and she said, I want to thank everyone in here for having my back, always. While I agree I shouldn't give the transphobes the light of day, I do think we have to fight back and tell them to F off every now and then. I love you. Well, Nikki, I want to share something with you. This has turned into a Peterisms video. On my Peterisms channel, which is where I read meditations, and I talk about motivation and inspiration, and I just share stories of my life. I talk about times that I have fallen on my face and I have made huge mistakes and what I have learned from that, and I got back up. But starting in November, I started reading over there inspirational self-help books, one book every single month. And this month we're reading the book, well, for February, it's called Make Your Bed. And it was written by a Navy SEAL. I think that he had been a Navy SEAL for 25 or 35 years. And he did the commencement speech in 2014, I believe, at the University of Texas. And he wrote 10 lessons that he had learned over his course of being a Navy SEAL. The first being, make your bed every single day, because then you start your day by accomplishing a task. One of the lessons in there that he talks about, which I thought was really, really interesting, because it's kind of the opposite of what we're taught, right? Is he said something to the effect of like, never give in to the sharks. And he's talking about when they're doing training, and they have to swim at night in the San Francisco Harbor or San Francisco Bay, and they're terrified because there's all these sharks out there and there's great whites, right? But he has to complete this or he won't become a Navy SEAL. You never give in to the sharks. And he's talking about bullies in there, and that there are always bullies in life, right? And if you don't stand up to the bullies, okay, and that doesn't mean you attack them back with hatred. You can attack bullies with love, okay? You can treat them in a way that they did not treat you. You can stand up for what is right. You can bring attention to what is wrong, and you can educate the world about it. There are ways to deal with that we don't have to. You know, I don't think always engaging in it is the right thing to do. I think it brings them more attention, but I think there are ways to stand up for ourselves. You know, there have been many times in my life that I have not stood up to bullies that I wish I had. There have been many times that I have not stood up to negativity, hatred, and lies that I absolutely, absolutely should have, and I wish I had, and you know what, it's too late now. But I learned a valuable lesson from it, and when I heard that in that book, I was like, you know, there are some times that you have to pick your battles, and there are some times that you have to stand up for what is right. And I'm glad that she said something. I'm really glad that she said something, because if she hadn't, people probably are like, oh, Nikki Tutorials is over there living her best life. She's not getting any hate or any criticism. No, she knows she's still getting it, right? But she's going to rise above, and she will. And you know what? What she'll show these people is, hate me all you want, but I love myself enough, and I'm going to be so successful, you'll be the last one on the floor crying, right? So anyway, let me know what you guys think about all of that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.